Now the Dolphins break in as it's Wisakowski who drills it in.
Trip, nice pull, and finished. Nice pass, Core with the jam.
Yeah. Guys the ball up to the near post, and there to hit the ball into the goal is Mustafa Harani.
And a slam by Sidney Wilson.
Hi, I'm John Starks.
What's going on? I'm Victor Cruz.
My name is David Diamante.
Hi, this is Larry Fitzgerald.
Hello, this is Spike Lee, and you're watching Backpack Broadcasting.
I've always loved storytelling, and I started out with short form storytelling and just doing what maybe you see in most traditional news reports, quick packages, different things of that nature. But I've always had a love for long form or news magazine storytelling or documentary style storytelling. That's always been a passion of mine. And when I started Backpack Broadcasting, I just created an opportunity and a platform for myself to do that. I've always been looking for a way to get into the world of long-form storytelling, and I thought there was no better way than to start doing it myself, create my own opportunity, and create the opportunity for others. And that's what we're doing here with Sideline Stories. I'm also very passionate about the stories that aren't being told, but it's common to do a report on a basketball game or what's happened on the court, but maybe looking deeper into what goes on into a sport or how a sport works or the people that are affecting the sport. I like digging a little bit deeper, and that's what we're trying to do here at with Sideline Stories, is dig a little bit deeper, show people the effects within a sport, the social effects, the political effects, how it affects a community, how it might affect a race, a gender, a class of people. These are things that are all important and are all very intricate within sports, and that's what we want to tell with Sideline Stories. So it really just comes from a passion of wanting to tell stories and storytelling, and we hope people see that with the work that we do.
And a great afternoon to you, and welcome to soccer in the United Women's Soccer League today. The New York Surf playing their regular season finale at 5-2-2 in the East, hosting the Long Island Rough Riders at 5-1-1 with a playoff spot at stake for the two teams in the final week of the season. Hello and welcome here on YouTube to Maritime College in the Bronx. I'm Ralph Bednarchik. Fortuna Village for this New York Surf team is playing on the outside left forward position, and she has had a super summer. She's been a professional in Norway. She's on the Albanian national team. She has major goals to try to make the U.S. women's national team. 5 goals and 3 assists for the dynamic player, and the second all-time leading scorer out of Quinnipiac, finishing up her career in the fall of 2011. And for the Rough Riders, an amazing 25 goals scored, just 5 goals allowed. Morgan Santoro. In 7 games played, she has scored 7 goals for 14 points. Santoro just finished up her tremendous career at Adelphi, where she was a Division II first-team All-American in the fall at Adelphi. Spent 2 years there after 2 years at Division I Central Connecticut State. She is a handful, also playing the center forward position. Let's have a look at our starters, and what's special today for the New York Surf is that they have 7 Sky Blue FC reserves in their lineup or on the bench today, and they are an affiliate of that professional organization. Erica Murphy up top joining Village, and Katrina Atanda, a super player out of Clemson. That's a reserve player. Rachel Corboz of Georgetown, Karina Ferrante, Kelly Conheeney, also of the Sky Blue FC reserve several years, Tatiana Guadalupe on the left back. The inside backs, Brooke Salmon, Hannah Ulan, and Cassidy Benitente of Rutgers, with Colleen Hickey heading into her junior season in goal out of Fordham. And today for the Rough Riders, and their lineup will look like this, playing out of an ambitious 4-2-4 alignment. And the right back being Taylor Groth. Look out for the center back, Kimberly Marrow, who's had a tremendous summer. Santoro is a center forward, with Allison Boehner being a center back out of Stony Brook. Francesca Venezia, also a center forward out of the University of Miami, with Caitlin Longren. Christina Bolero of St. John's playing right forward. Erica Modena out of Manhattan College. Victoria Antonino is a midfielder with center mid, just graduated from Albany, where she was All-America East. Alexa Schneider out of Levittown, New York. Hot and humid conditions here today for this important match, regular season finale for the New York Surf. They're in the blue on black. They need to win this game to have a chance to make the playoffs. Our referees, Harlan Grossman is our center referee, with Chris Crooks, Julie Granger, and Kevin Salazar, our officials. So we are about ready to go. The Rough Riders, they will have 2 more games after this one. They realistically need to win 2 of their final 3 to make the playoffs out of the United Women's Soccer League Eastern Conference. The New Jersey Copa FC, they are ahead of everybody with 22 points at 7-1-1. But then there are essentially 3 teams for the one remaining spot. The New England Mutiny with 18 points, the Surf here with 17, and the Rough Riders with 16. But the Rough Riders do have the extra 2 games in hand. So the Rough Riders to possess out of this very aggressive 4-2-4 alignment. And something first-year head coach Adam Whitehead and I spoke about today is why they've had the kind of alignment as it's sent ahead where Guadalupe plays it. And it's resulted very well with the 25 goals, just 5 allowed margin. As well, the defensive end throw-in for the Surf. And their starting left back, Guadalupe, out of the College of St. Rose in Albany, where she is heading in to her senior season, a native of Deer Park, New York. As this past Guadalupe, another offensive end throw-in coming up for the Rough Riders. And in any kind of season like this, where it's a summer league in basketball and several different sports, travel baseball, softball, chemistry can be very difficult to come by. But the head coach of the Rough Riders, Adam Whitehead, one of the first things he noticed off of last year's team and the feedback he had gotten was that this team, he was hoping to try to generate better chemistry, which could work its way out for improved play on the field. So what he did, he started what he calls is essentially a meet and greet. 1 hour during a week of practice, a social 60 as you call it. Everybody needs to get to know each other by names. They started a group chats, Snapchats together. So he's very thrilled that even for a summer program, they don't have the kind of cliques that many of them will have just based on geography, the player's age, and where they come from. And that's really resulted and translated very well, he feels, on the field. Fortuna Village, as she plays it up ahead into some space for Murphy. And Erica Murphy has had a fine summer, native of Rutgers, or a product of Rutgers, and she plays it in, and we'll have a deep offensive end throw-in coming up with the center back, Allison Boehner, making the play for the Rough Riders. Just underway, 2+ minutes in, and the first time these 2 programs are meeting up, with the New York Surf establishing a team at this age group, at this level, at the semi-pro level this summer. Now, as Guadalupe has it towed away from her by Allison Boehner. And the two center backs today for the Rough Riders figured to be part of the standouts, with Kimberly Mara, graduate of Iona in 2016, headlining things in front of goalie Melissa Guglielmo. Guadalupe played it to the edge of the box, but it's taken over here by the Rough Riders. As they dart to the outside and look for some room for Erica Modena of Manhattan College. The Rough Riders with many Long Island natives on their team that have also come through their youth system and other programs like the Massapequa Soccer Club and the East Meadow Soccer Club. So many of their players, in addition to working and adding on the chemistry, they've known and played one another going back to high school. Good connecting pass. Rachel Carbose was able to feed through and get it to Kelly Conheeney. And Conheeney just joining the team for the first time today. There's a shot from distance, and the save is made on Carbose. The stop is made by Guglielmo. So Rachel Carbose, who is coming off of a terrific spring. Back in March, she had a U23 U.S. national team tryout. Just graduated from Georgetown, where she was a 3-time first-team All-Big East player, and gives the Sky Blue faithful a lot of excitement. Here is Velage shooting from distance, and Guglielmo again tested. A 20-yard rip from Fortuna Velage, and it'll be interesting to see how she will fit in with her new teammates today.
By number 1, Melissa Guglielmo.
Finally, the Lady Rough Riders will settle it down. Santoro has had a super season. She's picked up where she's left off from the fall at Adelphi, and she has the pass ahead. Fed across, Ken Hickey will come up with the interception in the midst of a potential tap-in for Christina Bolero of St. John's. And on that left wing, Erica Modena had the service. And a good step up by Taylor Groff of the Rough Riders. And some space to maneuver for the holding mid, Victoria Antonino. And Hickey again taking over. So Colleen Hickey's been the goalie all summer long for the New York Surf of Bayshore, New York. Has only played spot time at Fordham in her 2 years. Didn't play at all as a freshman. And just a few minutes of action, one game played as a sophomore. So this has been a big opportunity for her to grow this summer, playing against some high-level competition, particularly in comparison to the Atlantic 10, where she's facing a lot of players that would be all-conference if they were in college today. And the Rough Riders out of the back. Groff, the right back, will deal it back to Mara, and with the pressure of Carbose, the Rough Riders have allowed just 5 goals during this time, and a lot of which has been their possession time. And talking to head coach Adam Whitehead of the Rough Riders, discipline is something that he was worried about today against this new Surf team that has 7 players from the Sky Blue FC reserves, so this one is out of play. And sometimes he thinks that don't push the ball, hold it, has been the big challenge this summer that can take his team to be really great and compete for United Women's Soccer League National Championship in a few weeks. Groff, and the connecting pass, Alexa Schneider of Levittown. Caitlin Logren, and the left back had it taken away, and the Surf will spread things out. Cassidy Benintente, product out of Rutgers, connects with the Georgetown product, Carbose. And Carbose trying to make one more pass through, able to get it to Velage. And in talking to New York Surf acting head coach Jen Leverton today, big question, I think, whenever you insert so many new faces into a lineup all at once, albeit how talented they are, but how quickly do they mesh? Carbose, and looking for Velage. And Boehner will let that go out for a goal kick. And while she said, yeah, that is certainly a challenge at any level, but the soccer IQs that the players possess, the Sky Blue FC reserves players that are joining today, is so high that it should not take too long. And the Sky Blue players have also spent a lot of time practicing in training camps, so they're not necessarily rusty in any way. It's just maybe learning new tendencies. As Venezia dropped it back, and through the far side, Kimberly Mara looked to spread a pass forward. Schneider knocks it down, but on the follow-up, the Surf with possession. Volage, and look to chip it into some space, and finally some room to maneuver for Santoro. And Santoro will try the outside, has Bolero. And Christina Bolero motors ahead out of Dix Hills, New York on the island. Bolero into the 18, but then Guadalupe able to break it up. So it's been a nice summer for Tatiana Guadalupe, playing for a Division II program, the College of St. Rose, and a very good conference. And playing against a lot of Division I players or graduated Division I players. As Corbos looks for Volage. And we have the offsides flag for the first time. So we've played into the 9th minute today. As you watch United Women's Soccer action, the New York Surf looking for a playoff bid. They must get this one. This is their regular season finale. That would put them at 19 points. With the victory. However, if they drop it, they would certainly be eliminated. For the Rough Riders, they just need 2 out of 3 in their remaining 3. And their schedule is very much set up to help them out because they've beaten the 2 teams remaining on their schedule and pretty handily, including the New York Magic, who have gone winless so far in the division. Santoro. And around Hannah Olan. Santoro from the edge of the box, and she serves it across. First shot for Morgan Santoro, who comes in getting among the leaders in the United Women's Soccer League. 7 goals in 7 games. After a 24-goal, 8-assist fall for Adelphi, which put her 3rd in NCAA Division II. And she played 2 years at Division I Central Connecticut State and saw action, but she transferred a little closer to home. And she is from Islip, New York, out in Suffolk County. And it turned out to be a move that's put her into a national conversation. And hoping to use this opportunity, as Coach Adam Whitehead said, to further her career and see what happens beyond just enjoying it. Guglielmo into the 10-minute mark, a product out of Suni Onianta. Got it ahead to Santoro. And Santoro has been all over the ball, playing as a center forward, but will check back to the ball very aggressively. And that pass is just out of reach of her teammates. Conhini, as she jostles in the middle of the field, and she is taken down, and she is the one called for the foul, as we have an injured Long Island Rough Rider player. And player down is the holding mid, Victoria Antonino. This is just her 4th match of the summer. The Rough Riders have only had 5 players that have appeared in all 8 matches to this point. And that's typical for the summer and any, whether it's the USL, the PDL on the men's side, or the United Women's Soccer League. You're going to get different lineups based on what everybody else has going on in life. But the more players you can keep together longer, that's a big advantage. So Antonino has gotten to her feet, and she's a big reason why the Rough Riders can play this aggressive 4-2-4. And of the 2, one is a holding mid, the other is the center attacking mid in Alexa Schneider. Taylor Groff as Bolero checks back. Corbos with the New York Surf playing out of a 4-3-3, and something Corbos was very comfortable with at Georgetown. As she looked to lay it ahead, she was looking for Murphy, the center forward. Taken over by Boehner. Mara connecting with Groff. And the battle of the midfield, Schneider able to win that ball. Tough matchup, she was able to take it away from Karina Ferrante, who is heading into her junior season at nearby Mercy College. And Conhini with Murphy trying to stay onside. and she could not. Several steps ahead with the play blown dead. The serve coming in at 5-2-2, 22 goals scored. They have given up 10. But they've won the games they've been supposed to, but the key loss came on Sunday, June 25th, a 2-0 loss up in the New England Mutiny in Western Massachusetts, East Longmeadow High School. So that's the one that's put them into this win and then get some help situation today in their regular season finale. Conheeney. And Conheeney looked to lay it ahead for Murphy, too far away, with Melissa Guglielmo taking over. And we'll get a stoppage as our official has blown the play dead in Harlan Grossman. And in a hot day like this, of course, cramping could be something of an issue. And that again is Victoria Antonino, who went down earlier. So with a stoppage here at about 13 and a half minutes in. And this is just Antonino's 4th match of the summer. So with all the talent that players have, conditioning could always be a big challenge. So she appears like she's going to leave the match here for a moment. And we'll see if the Rough Riders are going to make a substitution or a play without her for a moment. Yeah, it looks like that'll be the case. We will have a substitute.
Substitution for the Rough Riders. Substitution for the Rough Riders, number 24, Alexa Dongos.
That's Alexa Dongos that comes in for the first time.
Victoria Antonino.
So she will come on, and we'll see what the Rough Riders will look like as Dongos will take her spot at right back. And shifting around, looks like Kimberly Mara has moved to a holding mid spot. So the Rough Riders, less than 15 minutes in, may have to change their shape because of that. As Conheeney was bottled up on the far side, 13 in blue for the New York Surf. So Allison Boehner here to command things. So it'll be Boehner and Taylor Groff now as the 2 center backs, with Dongos moving in. Schneider, great skill to lay that outside. And then the reconnection is Alexa Schneider was 2nd team All-America East in her senior year at Albany and enjoyed a wonderful career after playing at Division High School. Was a longtime solid player there as Cassidy Benintente. And Benintente will get through some traffic in the layoff here. Corbos. Village able to turn. And Village working against Dongos. And Village lays it into some space looking for Erica Murphy before that is broken up. And in deep, just played up the sideline by Taylor Groff and out. Quickly thrown in for Village. Corbos gets it back. Corbos just a bit off. Then Village, the shot as she curls it through some traffic, and Guglielmo has to come up with it. It looked like it was ticketed for the corner, and Guglielmo did not see it immediately through some traffic.
By number 17, Fortuna Village.
So Fortuna Village already has been very active, and you could see the chemistry developing between her and Rachel Corbos. Mara, as it's played away from her feet. And Dongos, who is going into her junior season next month at St. John's University, where she's been a super utility player for head coach Ian Stone. So she's using this opportunity to develop her skill set, a tremendous track athlete that had Division I opportunities coming out of Island Trees High School. Could have chosen that route, but it went with soccer, and she's played as a backup forward, as an outside back, especially as an outside marking back for the Red Storm. And given responsibilities such as defending someone like Rachel Corbose because of her sheer athleticism, and then as the foot skills come along, and they feel like she could really turn into something. Caitlin Loughran, and quickly to throw it in over the top. This one into the box before it is knocked down. Brooke Salmon, also out of Fordham, second team All-Atlantic 10 in the fall. She's heading into her senior season. And the follow-up by Benintente, as she looks for some space, but good pressure applied by the Rough Riders as they'll force the throw in. Just one earlier shot by the Rough Riders and a couple of dangerous crosses. That's been it so far in a scoreless match. Must-win situation for the New York Surf to try to put themselves at least in a position where if they win, they need some help, but they can qualify for the playoffs. It is Bolero outside. As Bolero takes it across and then trying to cut it through defenders, puts it wide. Christina Bolero also heading into her junior season at St. John's, where she's been a starter for most of her first 2 years. And of Hills East High School out in Suffolk County, where she was a dynamite scorer. And someone that's known for having a big rocket of a shot and always putting herself into scoring position. And the question for her has been, can she finish like any great forward more consistently? Dogos with good decision and good turn to go back to Boehner. Guglielmo will choose Dogos through the back as we play into the 20th minute here first half. We have yet to have a corner kick so far, just a good series of opportunities from the edge of the box for the New York Surf. Rachel Corbose and Fortuna Village. There's the good connection by Corbose. And here come the Surf with some space. Katrina Atanda just finished her great career at Clemson. And Atanda was the 30th pick overall in the springtime NWSL draft as she plays it across, and she got a touch off of Dogos, so we will have our first corner kick. They play it short. Atanda along the goal line. Look to play it inside the 18. And then Village with the ball still stuck inside the 18. Santoro to backtrack. And some space ahead for Ferrante. As Ferrante able to knock it down for the Surf. And Boehner will let Guglielmo handle. Melissa Guglielmo from nearby Somers, New York. She was a 3-year starter at Oneonta, finishing up a few years ago. Has only had to make 16 saves in 6 matches this year. That's how dominant the Rough Riders been in terms of possession time generally. Salmon. Space for Ferrante. Conhini. Stepping forward is Mara, who along with Santoro have been the 2 finest for the Rough Riders. Bolero with room. And the connecting pass, the late connecting pass. She nearly had her teammate cutting right down the middle, Miss Santoro, before it's Corbose to take over. And away from Conhini, here's Francesca Venezia. And a great look outside. And the shot from distance is well over the top, an ambitious one from Erica Modena, who's got 4 goals and an assist in just 2 games played for the Rough Riders. So the goal kick for Colleen Hickey. The Rough Riders are without the services of Kayla Sager today, who's got 4 goals in 5 games played. But ultimately, Coach Adam Whitehead feels this is a pretty solid, or as 100% of a lineup that they would like to have, or they have had this season. And for the serve, as I've talked about, much different group today. That's trying to mesh. Santoro, as she motors through, got through the 18, near the 18 for a second, and got it outside to Bolero before Brooke Salmon broke it up for the serve. Bolero able to get by Guadalupe. Then the help came from Salmon. Mara to try to keep it alive. Corbose just toes it away. And Rachel Corbose, who many soccer fans now, even nationally, have started to get to know the name. They're the two Corbose sisters, Daphne Corbose, who is a star just a couple years ahead of Rachel. They both played together at Georgetown. Daphne now playing with the Sky Blue FC and their full division team. And then the brother of the Corbose sisters, Mael Corbose, played a year at Rutgers and then finished up his career at Maryland. And he's had pro opportunities too. Ferrante able to knock that pass down. Dogos with a good step forward, connecting with her St. John's teammate Bolero. Groff. And the Rough Riders showing great patience and ball movement with Boehner. And trying to find a gap. This one knocked down by Corbose. And a chance to transition for her. With Groff chasing. Corbose looking to line up a shot, could not. Boehner was able to catch up to her. And Corbose had a corner pocket in her sights. As Ferrante played it across. And it'll go back to a goal kick. So Corbose made the defensive play. And for Rachel Corbose, it's been a very busy summer after she took Georgetown to their first NCAA College Cup. They finished 23-3, losing in the national championship game. Rachel in her senior year, 11 goals and 16 assists. Kim Mara. Into some space, Santoro for Bolero. As Bolero gets by Guadalupe. Now charges in, getting wide, plays it across, there's the tap in! And the Rough Riders take the lead, Erica Modena. After Santoro sprung Bolero in the corner. Modena's 5th of the summer as Bolero with a very pretty pass in tight.
1-0 Rough Riders.
So the goal coming in the 25th minute, Modena with a fantastic left-footed touch and puts it past Hickey. Christina Bolero with her first point of the summer. But credit the great pass by Morgan Santoro just to Springer and give her a chance to get by Tantianu Guadalupe. So the New York Surf with some work to do. In a must-win game where a tie really does them no good when you look at the remaining schedule, especially with the Lady Rough Riders, what they have in front of them. After this game, the Rough Riders, they'll play the New York Magic on Friday the 14th and then the Lancaster Inferno on the 16th. Those are both home games, too, at St. Anthony's High School in Huntington on Long Island. And earlier this summer, the Rough Riders had their way with the Magic. And while you never want to just pencil in the points, because you never know who will show up and how things work out, but the Magic have not played well this summer. They are 0-7-1, and they have a -24 goal differential. 3 goals for 27 allowed. Good ball ahead, Murphy, and it's offsides. So the third one against the Surf so far in this first half. So the Magic being 0-7-1. And then the finale is the Lancaster Inferno, who's 4-4, 17-4, 19 goals allowed. Now the Rough Riders did play Lancaster on Sunday, June 11th. They beat them 6-1. So 2 extremely winnable games for the Rough Riders, and seeing the Inferno this year, they could be very competitive, I think, against them. And the Magic being 0 on the summer, which puts the Surf in a position where they have to get this game and hope an upset can be pulled in one of those 2, and that would put them into the playoffs with New Jersey Copa FC. Conheeney got a good ball out wide, and then Conheeney tried to spray it to the front as Taylor Groff cut her off. In the United Women's Soccer League in the East, it's a 1-game playoff, which will be played in 2 weeks at the end of July. So the top 2 teams out of this East Division face one another. Then they would advance to a national semifinal or a Final Four, where just 2 games over the course of a weekend win you a national championship in the summer in the United Women's Soccer League. As Corbeau's gets it back. And then after that, as the players disperse, some back to their jobs and their lives, some back to their college campuses, and some hoping, depending on injuries and other things that happen around the world and in other leagues, to use this opportunity to get themselves potentially a pro contract, and especially in the case of Fortuna Village of the New York Surf, who's had a great summer, who's been a professional in countries such as Norway during her time, and is an Albanian national. She'll have a lot of options. Dogos in the 29th minute. As Corbeau's again knocks this pass down. And she has been hunting for a potential transition or counter opportunity. Guglielmo, a pair of early big saves on shots from distance. As Bolero chases, and Bolero able to win that ball. However, turned over as Village was looking to feed through, and that was Erica Modena. Corbeau's to settle it. And Corbeau's looks for help from Conheeney. Native of Sweden, Hanna Ulan. About to turn 22 years old, and she's hoping to use this summer to gain some more professional notoriety, as well as live in New York City for a period of time. So many different stories within the United Women's Soccer League of where these players come from and what they're ultimately using this for. Ulan has participated in 3 Swedish youth national team camps and profiles as a center back at all levels. Boehner looking to connect with Schneider, instead taken over by Ferrante. And Conheeney into some space for Erica Murphy. And Murphy battles with Groff, and this is going to be a goal kick. Now, which way the official point? Kind of in between. And Groff signaling, I can't believe that it's going to be a corner. Or is it? And some confusion from the players, too, based on the way the official did not emphatically point. It will be just a goal kick for Guglielmo. Schneider out to her left back, Caitlin Logren. And Katrina Atanda. As Atanda will hold it up. What a career she had at Clemson. 12 goals, 4 assists, despite being at the top of everybody's scouting report. Was first team All-ACC in the fall. A native of Belmead, New Jersey. And number 11 in blue. That wide, some room for Francesca Venezia. Santoro, lead ahead for Modena, but Guadalupe read the play. Taken off of her feet by Mara. Here is Mara in deep. Since moved started the game at center back, now at holding mid. As she crosses it, it's knocked down by Brooke Salmon, and we'll have our first corner for the Rough Riders.
Right, get on the corner, get on the corner.
So the Rough Riders are ready with a 1-0 lead as they debate who's going to take this one. A goal in the 25th minute. Scored by Erica Modena. It will be Morgan Santoro on the service.
To take the corner kick for the Rough Riders.
So Colleen Hickey and this New York Surf defense, they play it short to Schneider, who is unmarked. And Alexa Schneider with space. Santoro. And here comes the ball in, but it's whistled and blown dead for an offside. So an unusual situation where you'd see that call, and the Surf escaped that opportunity. So each team with just one corner. In the vicinity of Village, and this is out of play. The Rough Riders got back in the win column last Friday. Morgan Santoro and Erica Modena, they led the offense in a 5-1 win over Rochester. So with that victory, that's kept this Long Island team into great shape for the second spot in the Eastern Division, as everybody chases New Jersey Copa FC. That's a South Jersey-based program with a lot of players, particularly from the PDA travel program, and players that play in the ACC, the Big Ten. A service by Bolero, and the follow-up teed up outside. Logren, the left back, stepped forward. And Conheeney able to track back and play that out. Alexa Schneider. Meanwhile, last Saturday, the Surf picked up a 5-0 road win, a shutout of the New York Magic. Erica Murphy, 2 goals. Colleen Hickey and net had to make 4 saves. Village pressures. As we'll have just 10 minutes remaining in this opening half, we'll have our first New York Surf substitution. As Karina Ferrante is going to exit.
Greg, get off the substitution. The girl coming in. Supposed to feel good. Stay with her.
So Ferrante out at center mid. And we'll see who acting head coach Jen Leverton has brought on. And she brings on Faith Daly for the first time.
Substitution for the
Daly with a goal, and this is now her 7th match of the summer. So Daly will leave it here for Village, who checks back further. Atanda. And Katrina Atanda trying to take advantage of the Sky Blue Reserves practices. And you just never know when there's an injury. Erica Murphy gets in deep into the box, now plays it inside, and she had a player inside. That was Conheeney. Then Corbeau shooting and through some traffic. There was no touch. It'll be a goal kick. So Corbeau's had some options.
Stay with her, Greg. You're good. You can pull up.
As Atanda will find the ball at her feet. And Cassidy Benintente, the right back. Santoro with a terrific turn. As she looks outside, and eventually it'll find the feet of Bolero. And Bolero past Village. Some space looking for Modena, and those two were nearly on the same page. Bolero the assist, Modena the goal in the 25th minute. Modena's 5th of the summer, and while Morgan Santoro was able to create the play. As Valaj looks to power through Dolgos. Looks ahead for Otanda. The play read well by Caitlin Logren. The Surf have been called for offsides 3 times in this opening half, and you could chalk some of that up to that so many new players playing together for the first time in a full game. Corbos broken up by Mara, and then the ensuing foul will be called against Kanhini. And as she was wondering about the call, but nevertheless a great story that Kelly Kanhini is even here on the field. She's a product of Virginia Tech. Back in 2012, she helped Ottawa win the W League championship against the LA Blues that summer. And 13 in blue she missed about 3 full years due to concussions, and she's had several in her life that she's been trying to recover from that have slowed down her professional career. She's out of the class of 2013 at Virginia Tech, so this is still part of her process of getting back to the level where she was. She's appeared in matches for the Sky Blue in their inaugural seasons. But she's known as a very fearless competitor and someone that just will not back down, and part of what makes that who she is, because she will go in on every tackle, and as a result she'll get herself maybe into some positions where you may want to ask her to back off, but that's just not her personality. Kanhini then, after finishing up at Virginia Tech, where she could have even gotten a 50-year red shirt, but the doctors would not clear her at that time to play in the fall of 13. So after graduation, Kanhini played for the Coach Across Continents program, where it's playing and also doing clinics across the world, like in Asia and Africa. And while she got herself better and still tried to keep herself going in terms of being in shape, as Corbos breaks up another pass, Murphy returns it to her, then she plays it across. Nice backheel pass, Erica Murphy, and she had some choices, and she went with the cutting Corbos, who I think would have liked to have done better with that. Corbos in the fall was a Hermann Trophy semifinalist, one of the final 15 players for the nation's top player, and suiting up for the New York Surf for the first time today. Santoro, nicely done in and out. And Daly eventually to take over for Benintente. As Kanhini was stepped into, the captain of the Rough Riders, Kimberly Mara. Bolero the connection. And Bolero able to work her way through. And into Salmon, then taking the shot. And Hickey is going to rescue a corner, or did she? She did not. Our center referee, and Harlan Grossman, says the ball crossed. It was off the body of Brooke Salmon. And here late in the opening half, the Rough Riders will have their second corner kick. And again, it was Christina Bolero. And it's been giving Tatiana Guadalupe a lot of trouble, particularly when they've been isolated outside.
To take the corner kick, number 18, Erica Modena.
So this will be Modena that plays it short. Then the second ball in. Hickey comes out, and Hickey in a collision. And with Taylor Groff, they'll call the foul on Groff, as Hickey stood in there. And Colleen a little slow to get to her feet. Colleen, a junior out of Bayshore, New York. She attended St. John the Baptist High School. And she has played a lot of time this summer and trying to use this experience where she's now going to compete for a starting position with Fordham coming up in just a few weeks when college training camps start. This is Hickey's 6th match that she's played over the summer. It comes back to Hickey. Hickey with a bad pass, turns it over. Here's the opportunity, and it is blown dead offsides. A nearly disastrous giveaway by the Surf as Francesca Venezia was looking to poach she and Modena. As Hickey fortunate that the game is still just 1-0 Rough Riders. And after weathering a couple of early quality shots by the Surf, in the first 10 to 15 minutes, the Rough Riders have gotten settled here on the campus of SUNY Maritime. They've had the better of play despite not having a large number of shots, but a high degree of possession time. Nice back heel again with Santoro. Got it from Modena. And Morgan Santoro crosses up the defender. Stays with it and lays it across. Here's the shot by Venezia wide. Morgan Santoro again creating with the New York Surf pair of center backs, Ulan and Salmon, both on the back pedal. Corbos eventually will connect with Atanda. Final 2 minutes. Volage will leave it for Murphy. She'll chip, and she just misses a good look. Great passing sequence. And there was Erica Murphy running through the middle with a nice opportunity. Murphy spent her senior year at Rutgers after playing 3 seasons at Monmouth, and she was invited to camp in the preseason by Sky Blue FC coach Christy Holly. And they've kept a watchful eye on her. She was 2-time All-MAC while at Monmouth, scoring 26 goals and 4 assists during her 3 years there. And at Rutgers in the fall, she transferred there in part with Rutgers having a lot of graduation losses following their College Cup semifinal appearance in the fall of 15. And she filled a very nice role. And she's from the South Jersey area, attended Pennington Prep. And Santoro on a loose ball in the final minute. Mara joining the play. And Mara continued through and it just bothered, but they'll call the advantage as Hannah Olan got a little piece of her. So here is a quality restart now. And the Rough Riders can take their time. And it will be Santoro. She'll take the quick approach. And would like to have done better with that.
Shot taken by...
Here at SUNY Maritime, she is shooting into the wind based on the flag. And the wind here is known to cause havoc no matter what sport it is at times during the season. As Guadalupe under the pressure of Bolero and picks up a bump foul. Volage looking to return it to Daly. And she will to Murphy before the play read well by Allison Boehner, who's played a strong first half. Boehner out of Plain Edge High School in the island, playing at Stony Brook University. Murphy across it came, and sliding over there was Laugren, the left back. Groth as she's run into by Volage. Only ball was contacted. Murphy will win it back. Into some space for Volage. And Groth in her own end. And that'll take care of this opening half. A goal in the 25th minute is the difference. Erica Modena. And a great pass through the goal mouth from Christina Bolero.
The goal coming in the 25th minute.
And the Long Island Rough Riders, they are a half away from nearly sewing up a playoff spot in the United Women's Soccer East Division. The New York Surf, they need a pair in the second to come up with a victory and then get some help in the following weeks. So we'll come back in about 10 minutes from now here on YouTube as we continue with United Women's Soccer coverage. The New York Surf and the Long Island Rough Riders battling here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
Evans for three. Oh, how about that?
Now the Dolphins break in as it's Wisakowski who drills it in.
Trip, nice move. And finished. Nice pass. Moore with the jam.
Yeah. Guys, the ball up to the near post, and there to hit the ball into the goal is Mustafa Harani.
And a slam by Sidney Wilson.
Hi, I'm John Starks. What's going on? I'm Victor Cruz.
My name is David Diamante.
Hi, this is Larry Fitzgerald.
Hello, this is Spike Lee, and you're watching Backpack Broadcasting.
I've always loved storytelling, and I started out with short form storytelling and just doing what maybe you see in most traditional news reports, quick packages, different things of that nature. But I've always had a love for long form or news magazine storytelling or documentary style storytelling. That's always been a passion of mine. And when I started Backpack Broadcasting, I just created an opportunity and a platform for myself to do that. I've always been looking for a way to get into the world of long-form storytelling, and I thought there was no better way than to start doing it myself, create my own opportunity, and create the opportunity for others. And that's what we're doing here with Sideline Stories. I'm also very passionate about the stories that aren't being told, but it's common to do a report on a basketball game or what's happened on the court, but maybe looking deeper into what goes on into a sport or how a sport works or the people that are affecting the sport. I like digging a little bit deeper, and that's what we're trying to do here at Sideline Stories, is dig a little bit deeper, show people the effects within a sport, the social effects, the political effects, how it affects a community, how it might affect a race, a gender, a class of people. These are things that are all important and are all very intricate within sports, and that's what we want to tell with Sideline Stories. So it really just comes from a passion of wanting to tell stories and storytelling, and we hope people see that with the work that we do. In the field of media, broadcast journalism, television, film, diversity is very important, and being able to have more people have a seat at the table to tell their stories is always important. That's something I'm very passionate about. I'm passionate about telling stories through media, but I'm also very passionate about seeing diversity in that. And here at Backpack Broadcasting, that's very important, and that's a huge goal of mine and a goal of the people that I work with. So it's going to be a very diverse correspondent team, including myself, very diverse array of people working on production with these stories. So the stories are diverse, the people that are working here are diverse, and so diversity is important to us, and we believe that'll be shown with our upcoming project, Sideline Stories.
Evans for three. Oh, how about that?
Now the Dolphins break in as it's Wisakowski who drills it in.
Trip, nice move. Finished. Nice pass, Moore with the jam.
Yeah. Guys the ball up to the near post, and there to hit the ball into the goal is Mustafa Halani.
And a slam by Sidney Wilson.
Hi, I'm John Starks. What's going on? I'm Victor Cruz.
My name is David Diamante.
Hi, this is Larry Fitzgerald.
Hello, this is Spike Lee, and you're watching Backpack Broadcasting.
I've always loved storytelling, and I started out with short form storytelling and just doing what maybe you see in most traditional news reports, quick packages, different things of that nature. But I've always had a love for long form or news magazine storytelling or documentary style storytelling. That's always been a passion of mine. And when I started Backpack Broadcasting, I just created an opportunity and a platform for myself to do that. I've always been looking for a way to get into the world of long-form storytelling, and I thought there was no better way than to start doing it myself, create my own opportunity, and create the opportunity for others. And that's what we're doing here with Sideline Stories. I'm also very passionate about the stories that aren't being told, but it's common to do a report on a basketball game or what's happened on the court, but maybe looking deeper into what goes on into a sport or how a sport works or the people that are affecting the sport. I like digging a little bit deeper, and that's what we're trying.
In soccer action, the New York Surf and the Long Island Rough Riders. It is a 1-0 Rough Riders lead as we're about to start the second half of play. The New York Rough Riders, coached by Jen Leverton, over there on the sideline. Jen Leverton is the acting head coach today. Michelle Canning of Fordham is the head coach normally, but she's not with the team today. Jen Leverton is the top assistant coach to Ian Stone at St. John's University and had a great career as a forward. She is from Bishop Feion High School in Massachusetts and continues to be a well-known name now in the women's soccer and girls soccer community on the island and now in New York.
Move over to the right, hand right.
And there's Jen Leverton with the water bottle, and great to catch up with Jen on the field beforehand. And she and her assistant coaches today, including Hofstra's own Salma Tarek. Salma's now a young coach, too, at St. Joseph's College of Patchogue out east on Long Island. So there's Jen, so we'll see what kind of chemistry her team comes out with here in the second half. And meanwhile, for the Long Island Rough Riders, their head coach, Adam Whitehead, there in the black on black. Changing to the shorts here in this hot second half. He played collegiately at Binghamton. He's just in his 10th month as a coach of the Long Island Rough Riders program. And Whitehead taking over for longtime head coach Steve Cadet, who couldn't coach this team this summer, but Steve Cadet's also a well-known guy out on Long Island, including on the boys soccer scene, coaching the Wheatley High School boys. And recently being a county champion. Now Adam Whitehead having this opportunity to coach a very talented team, and what a bonus it would be for him to try to make the playoffs in his first season.
Sammy, go wide.
So the second half will begin with the New York Surf in possession. And we'll see what kind of formation the Surf also come out with. They came out with a lot of flair in the first 10 to 15 minutes, getting quality chances from Rachel Corboz and Fortuna Village before the Rough Riders started to take command of the possession time, and that really tilted the game and the field to their favor. A couple of late combinations from Erica Murphy and Corboz seemed to give the Surf some life late in the opening half. And here is Bolero instantly charging ahead to the edge of the box before the play is broken up, and she has been a handful as the starting right forward for the Rough Riders that came out in a 4-2-4 alignment. And not a common one, a very aggressive one as Kanhini here for Katrina Atanda. And Atanda looks to slip a pass through, could not. Taylor Groth, also a Delphi product, third-team All-American back in 2015 as a defender. A super player. And Taylor Groth, who's had a very strong match. As the Rough Riders lost Victoria Antonino, their starting holding midfielder, what appeared to be a leg issue early into the first half. So what that prompted is head coach Adam Whitehead of the Rough Riders to move Kimberly Mara from center back, their captain, to the holding mid. Groff moved inside, and they brought Alexa Dolgos in to play right outside back. So they had to reconfigure things, but it did not seem to affect them. Rachel Corboz with some space. And out wide it is Atanda. Slips the pass. Corboz looks to return it to her. The return, there's Murphy. Open save made. The rebound, and it's put in. Terrific passing sequence as Katrina Atanda located Erica Murphy all alone. After the terrific save by Melissa Guglielmo initially, Murphy stuck with it. And we are quickly even in the 47th minute at 1 apiece.
46th minute.
Erica Murphy's 6th goal of the summer in 7 matches. And she takes over the team lead from Fortuna Village. The goal will be unassisted with the rebound, but give a lot of credit to the combination of Corboz on that through ball into Atanda and a defensive breakdown early by the Rough Riders in this second half. So it's a new game again at stake for the Surf. This is their regular season finale. They must win this game in order to put themselves at least in position where they can get some help in the following weekend and qualify for the United Women's Soccer League Eastern Playoffs. The situation for the Rough Riders is not as grim. But a victory today would all but clinch it, but they would still have 2 games remaining next weekend. And as I talked about in the first half, very winnable games against the Lancaster Inferno, a team they've already beaten this season, and then the winless New York Magic. And those are both home games. So even if they were to drop this one, all they need to do is just take care of both of those, and they'd be in, and even with some help perhaps overtake or at least rise up into the standings where they could potentially even get a home game for that East Conference Championship game. So there's a lot of work to do for these remaining teams, but New Jersey Copa FC 7-1-1 with 22 points. But the Rough Riders feel they could still climb those standings. But we were even up at 1. A good pass and a ball ahead for Murphy, but that play whistled for the offsides as Kelly Kanahini sprinted her ahead with a nice ball.
Good job, Kurt. Stay with her.
Our numbers through the first half: shots on goal 3-1 for the Surf, and 3 saves made in goal by Melissa Guglielmo, and 2 corner kicks to 1 for the Long Island Rough Riders. But the Surf have gotten even. And now they're going to have a restart from distance. And Corboz plays it quick and gets it back. Dolgos, who stays in at right back, up the line, and Guadalupe. Dolgos, though, stepping in front. And Morgan Santoro as she slips down and is fouled. That Santoro has been such a handful today for the Surf. Finishing up a super career, 2 years at Central Connecticut State were quality, but she became, despite dropping down to Division II, she became a super player in her junior and senior years. There's a loose ball as Hickey could not corral that intercepted pass in her hands and hold it cleanly. Good follow-up by Schneider. Gets it to the feet of Francesca Venezia of Boston College. Now Santoro shooting into the chest there of Hickey. Some room there for Santoro after a very dangerous ball that Hickey left a loose ball right outside her 6 and was able to escape. As Boehner deals it back to Guglielmo. As we have a stoppage as both Erica Murphy and Allison Boehner are shaken up. So you see Erica Murphy here, the goal scorer, that has bent over. There's Allison Boehner adjusting her shoe. Boehner, when she goes back to Stony Brook, you could see the experience she's gaining from this summer, how well that's going to pay off. And practicing against older players like Murphy that have played and succeeded well in a conference like the Big Ten. As Murphy tries to walk it off. Murphy, while she was at Pennington Prep, that was in the prep school league in New Jersey, but they were ranked #1 at one point in her career. And that's #1 in the country. Benintente, good ball outside, Village. As she played it inside the box, looking for it is Conhini. And Caitlin Laugren goes up the line where Modena looks to turn. And the Surf will have it with a throw-in. So they've managed to tie up their regular season finale here early in the second half at 1. And we'll have a Long Island Rough Riders substitution now early in the second, too. So it'll be a change in forward for Coach Adam Whitehead as Erica Modena is going to exit. The Rough Riders, part of their success this season has been how deep they are. Several quality players with great resumes that have been with the team either today or throughout the summer. And this looks like it's going to be Madison Vasquez that is coming on for the first time. Vasquez has been a great utility player. She's out of West Babylon, New York, and West Babylon High. So she comes on. And it looks like she'll play as an outside forward.
She replaces number 18, Erica Modena.
Murphy got a good ball sent ahead from Corbos. Village. As Village now cuts it across around Laugren and look for a Tanda for a tap-in. Fortuna Village with a nice step over as she gained an edge. And Village was dangerous early in the first half. And she has been trying to get also that one perfect pass together on the same page with her new talented teammates today. In case you're just joining me, Ralph Beniarchik with you here on our YouTube broadcast and presentation of United Women's Soccer as the New York Surf, in their first season of existence at the Pro-Am level, they take on the Long Island Rough Riders for the first time. And I think that in moving ahead in the future, this is going to be a very fun rivalry that could develop because of the proximity, and even at times you may see college teammates face each other down the road. Mara with a good ball out wide. And some space for Vasquez as she chipped it in, and Hickey had no traffic in front of her.
Rough Rider shot taken by number
And for so long,
Vasquez.
the Rough Riders had such a deep roster in part because they were the only show in town nearby. You have the New York Magic that are based in New Jersey, but with all the youth soccer on the women's side available in Long Island, even portions of the city, that the Rough Riders always had very deep rosters. And now this spreads things a little bit, where you will start to see some surf players that are natives of Long Island or Long Island schools, and programs like St. John's University moving forward, and Hofstra, the way they've started to chip in forward and have that with connections like Jen Leverton and Selma Tarek. Dogos, and she picks up a bump from Atanda. So moving forward, you're going to have some terrific matchups between these two. And then with the Surf being affiliated as the reserve team for Sky Blue FC, there's automatically going to be a trickle-down effect from that perspective. Schneider, and she's been the center mid all afternoon as Santoro checks back. With Faith Daly defending for the Surf, Schneider makes her move. Alexa Schneider had a big career at Albany, was a two-time first-team all-conference player, had to settle for second-team honors this past fall. Vasquez. As Vasquez connects with Mara. Mara trying to make one move. And Mara laid it ahead too far. Her first touch betrayed her. And eventually the Surf able to close that down with Kelly Conheeney getting in the way. So Kim Mara, despite not having a point, but you can see how active a role she plays in the Rough Riders' success. Ball chipped ahead, and Santoro almost got to it ahead of Salmon. And now a dangerous bouncing ball that Guadalupe could not handle. And Guadalupe just has to keep it away from the energy of Morgan Santoro.
Good job, Greg. Stay well.
So here are the Surf. They're trying to connect a series of passes. Daly and Katrina Atanda. Locating Murphy. The play is onside. Then Murphy shooting from distance, and it's parried away by Guglielmo. It'll be a Surf corner and a potential defensive breakdown by the Rough Riders. And they were so tight in the opening half, but Murphy found herself all alone, and she had Volage also to her right.
Taking the corner for
So it will be Fortuna Volage on this service. And a ball to the edge of the 18. Won by Daly. And out to Atanda.
We got you covered, dog.
Atanda plays it in front. Again, Guglielmo to handle, with Murphy looking to draw some attention.
Surf shot taken by number 11.
So the Surf have built a couple of scoring chances since the goal. They just need one in this regular season finale, and then they'll keep a watchful eye on the scoreboard and see if they will have a chance to play again. Schneider, and again Vasquez out wide. Here's Kelly Conheeney. Looked for Murphy. And remember, Murphy was shaken up a bit, so I'll keep an eye on how well she is moving and playing the center forward spot in a 4-3-3 alignment for the Surf. Boehner. Schneider with a good turn. And how impressive has Alexa Schneider been here this afternoon? She has not been credited with a point this summer in her 6th match. But such a critical linking piece that allows Coach Adam Whitehead to play this aggressive 4-2-4. Ball played across. Volage chases after it. Dogos is able to catch up to her. And then Dogos will win this ball with aggressiveness. And that is what really drew St. John's coach Ian Stone to her. You saw the recovery time. And Dogos, especially against terrific midfielders or forwards, has the athleticism where she could be a man-marking option. And we'll have another Rough Riders sub. So a couple of early ones for the Rough Riders as Christina Bolero is the one that exits at right forward. Bolero with the assist on the goal.
15.
And Hope Quinones is in for the first time for the Rough Riders, 15 in white, 3 goals and an assist on the summer.
For the Rough Riders, coming on is number 15, Hope Quinones. She replaces number 17, Christina Bolero.
And Bolero, especially when in the first half when she found herself isolated against the left back Tatiana Guadalupe of the Surf, that was an area where the Rough Riders found some consistent, dangerous success. As Groff looks for Santoro, and Daly will let this one go back to Colleen Hickey. So we've played over 15 minutes of this second half. And the Surf looking for the go-ahead goal. The Rough Riders, they can start to think about their playoff plans should they win this one here. With still 2 more games remaining in hand. And should they take both of those and close out the regular season, taking these last 3 in particular, that would really make things interesting towards them potentially hosting the Eastern Conference Championship game on their home field at St. Anthony's High School in Huntington on Long Island. Village, as she gets away from Boehner and creates the separation. Conhini puts into some space. Dolgos, she steps in front of Atanda and is able to turn it very calmly. Beautifully done there by the young player Dolgos going into her junior season at St. John's. As Santoro checks back. Groff into Schneider, and a nice little flick outside for Quinones. Great build-up, and a reconnection to Santoro. And the Rough Riders with some space. They look to go outside for Quinones, and she and Guadalupe in a collision. It'll go back to Hickey. But the Rough Riders are the best passing sequence so far of the afternoon. They string together several together. And that chemistry that Coach Adam Whitehead spoke about, it was quite evident when he put together the Social 60 one night a week, that the players all get to know each other, that either by name, background, in group chats together, Snapchats together, and trying to really, in a short time span, just create some chemistry. Vasquez following the great takeaway at midfield, and laid in again to Hickey.
Good job, bro.
Great play was made by Taylor Groff. As Corbose is pestered, Quinones. Good lay ahead here for Conhini. And Conhini trying to take it outside. And since giving up a couple scoring chances, the Rough Riders have gotten the message. They have played with a little extra burst as Santoro is going to get to this ball before the end line. As she goes in on Salmon, plays it in front, it's Vasquez. And Vasquez was tied up with her own feet and looks for the trailer behind. Madison Vasquez, great opportunity and kind of caught in between as Schneider stepped forward. Great through ball, again played across by Morgan Santoro. And the Surf are called for the foul. So here comes a restart, but they'll play it quick, very quickly. Outside it's Santoro, looking to the short side. And the official, Harlan Grossman, allowed that restart to be ultra quick. And we'll have a goal kick coming up for the Surf with 3 subs at the table now. So a host of changes for the Surf and Coach Jen Leverton, including Flo Gamby, a player at nearby Mercy College in Dobbs Ferry is one of them. Also Rebecca Conway is the second, and we'll have one more as soon as I ID her. Here is Conheeney. And the third player is Trista Sierra, also from Mercy College. She is a Long Island native out of Lindenhurst that knows many of these Rough Rider players. Here's Daly. So the first real big shakeup by the Surf in their lineup. And we'll see if they return any of those starters later on.
Along with number 14, Rebecca Conway, and number 23, Trista Sierra. They replaced number 11, Katrina Atanda, number 20, Totiano Guadalupe,
Conheeney,
44, Hannah Ulan.
and she will lay it back. So Conway comes in at center back for Hannah Ulan. That's one change with Salmon remaining in, and Sierra there's the left back replacing Guadalupe. As Daly chases, and then Gamby replaces Atanda at left forward. There's Gamby for Corbos. Corbos with Sierra joining the play. Sierra, with great patience, carries further. Conway. Salmon, and she's fortunate to get away from Francesca Venezia. Ball played in as Groth steps in front of Murphy as Corbos was looking for a quick 1-2. Vasquez returns to Caitlin Laugren. With Valage applying pressure on Mara, a giveaway. Corbos, as with some options, she waits for a bouncing ball, then lays it to some space. Top of the box, there's Murphy shooting, and Murphy will curve it around the goalie and in. Erica Murphy capitalizes on a Rough Riders giveaway. And the Surf have taken the lead here in the 67th minute.
Goal scored by
as they pursue a playoff berth.
Murphy. She's assisted by number 40.
Rachel Corbos put the ball into some space. Murphy with a lot of poise for a veteran goal scorer.
New York Surf lead the Long Island Rough.
A very nice bend around Melissa Guglielmo. So here's Taylor Groth. We'll get a second look at it. Next opportunity or goal kick. But that is a huge one for Murphy after the Rough Riders defense was so mistake-free and clean in the opening half. There's been a couple of chances and windows of opportunity for the Surf, and they have capitalized twice. So Corbos feeding Trista Sierra. And now the Surf can look for insurance. Murphy the return to Sierra. Sierra is in. Sierra lines it up. And the offsides is whistled. Well, Trista Sierra found herself in an unusual spot for the center back, as the Surf have taken a 2-1 lead on this terrific goal with Rachel Corbos able to weave her way through, and that pretty pass set it up. So Corbos on the assist. And now another takeaway, Conheeney. As she is a trailer, Fortuna Valage. Valage is in. Valage look at the chip, and Guglielmo made the terrific play. There was only one play that Guglielmo could make, and that was it.
By number 17, Fortuna Valage.
And another giveaway by the Rough Riders. And all of a sudden on the defensive end, they have fallen apart at the seams. We'll get a pair of Rough Riders substitutions. And perhaps at least one on the defensive end. So the goal by Murphy in the 68th minute from Rachel Corbos. And the pair of subs is Alexa Dolgos is one that exits for the Rough Riders. And into the game for the first time for the Rough Riders is number 10, Sophia Sanchez.
Coming on, number 2, Taylor Elliott.
And also number 2, Taylor Elliott.
Heading off is number 14, Francesca Venezia.
And Francesca Venezia
Doggis.
at center forward heads off. It'll be a deep throw-in coming up for the Rough Riders. So the 2 goals they have allowed may also feel like a real shock. They had come into this game having given up just 5 total. But Erica Murphy has gotten both in the 47th and 68th. It ended up being called as a corner. Santoro got it short and played it back. As Santoro sprayed it to the front, it comes back to her, then she chips, and Hickey and the back pedal will grab it.
Rough Rider shot taken by number 8, Morgan Santoro. The save goes to New York Surf's number 1.
So Colleen Hickey was able to get it on the back pedal, but back to the Rough Riders defense and how good it's been. Just 5 goals allowed in 7 matches. You're looking at a goals against of about .80. The most goals they've allowed this season is 2, and that's in their lone loss at New Jersey Copa FC down at St. John Vianney High School on the Shore on Sunday, June 25th. Sanchez and Schneider got the good connection. Vasquez chipping, and that play made very well, Rebecca Conway. Good step forward by Allison Boehner, and then Vasquez, the second one through. Connects with Sophia Sanchez. One more ball for Santoro. She is in. Santoro taking it wide and just took her out of the play. Colleen Hickey again had to play the angle correctly. She forced Morgan Santoro, one of the summer's top goal scorers, into a position where she could not strike the ball well. And she did that just enough. So the Surf maintaining this 2-1 lead and a must-win game for the franchise in their first year at the Pro-Am level, with a lot of hopes and aspirations to grow this into the type of structure and organization that the Rough Riders have enjoyed for 3 decades on the men's side and now eventually on the women's side. Here is Vasquez getting past Conway. The trailer is Sophia Sanchez. As Sanchez sent it into some space, Murphy will only get a head ball on it with Boehner here, and the Rough Riders starting to press some numbers forward as we are now approaching the 74th minute. And a ball ahead, Sanchez, and Hickey gets to it first. And there was an opening in the Surf defense. And both teams today have changed at least one of their center backs. So, of course, that will always leave you susceptible to a communication breakdown. And all it takes is a small one, a fraction, when you're dealing with great players and great strikers. That is Flo Gamby for the Surf applying pressure, but it's last touched off of the Surf. Brooke Salmon. As Conheeney goes up for the head ball. It drops to the feet of Morgan Santoro. And she's been the star of this match as she lays it into some space ahead. Hickey comes out, and Hickey will have to play it away. That was Taylor Elliott that had a little bit of space. And finally the Surf will take that out of bounds and get it off of some feet. As Trista Sierra gets it to midfield. Erica Murphy to try to hold it up. Great view here at SUNY Maritime. We are located just underneath the Throgs Neck Bridge. So you see the water that is just a couple hundred yards off of the end line here. Just a great scene, great view. But in certain directions, the ball can do some funky things if it's up in the air high enough in certain points of the season. Today, it's been just calm enough as I was on the field beforehand. Restart for the Rough Riders as they go through Boehner. So the Rough Riders have switched into what appears to be a 3-4-3 system after their recent substitutions, with only Boehner as the lone center back. And Mara playing more of a holding mid to try to get the equalizer. This is Sanchez. And Levittown, New York's Alexa Schneider, nice move. Then a connecting pass, she has Santoro. And Santoro looked out wide, looking for Mara. Stepping forward, Caitlin Laugren. And Laugren out of St. Anthony's. And a Stony Brook player going into her junior year. Benintente out of Rutgers, and Benintente handles it well. Class of 2015, where she was on the best Rutgers team that's ever existed here, number 12 in blue. The team that reached the national semifinals, losing to Penn State. Benintente off the Sky Blue Reserves team. She's from Jackson, New Jersey. Great ball ahead at Santoro against Hickey. The chip by Santoro, and she's tied it up. It's been only a matter of time for that standout.
And it's scored by number 8, Morgan Santoro. The assist goes to number 5, Kimberly.
A terrific pass from Kim Mara. Those have been arguably the two best players all summer for the Rough Riders. In the 77th minute, Morgan Santoro has her 8th of the summer. Just a terrific player. And with that much time and room, it's no surprise. So now the Surf with a lot more work to do. Ball played across. Guglielmo dangerously allows it to bounce as it was sent ahead and crossed by Kelly Conheeney. A tie does not help the Surf. As Elliott was bottled up. Santoro from Kimberly Mara, who does get her first point of the summer. It was a terrific pass to Spring, one of the summer's best players in the league. And talking to Adam Whitehead about his team, as here is Village, as Village battles with Vasquez. And Vasquez will win that ball back. However, it's Sierra looking to lead. Erica Murphy could not. And now out comes captain of the Rough Riders, Kimberly Mara, out of Sayville High School, where she was the Suffolk County Player of the Year in 2011, before she went on to Iona College and an excellent career there. As Mara looked outside for Elliott. And Elliott knocking down Benintente, and eventually the call is made by Harlan Grossman. Let's have a second look at the goal. You're going to see the outstanding pass here by Mara. And then Santoro, no hesitation. Her first touch was the perfect one. As Adam Whitehead described Morgan Santoro and how her summer's gone, that she has taken what she did in the fall and carried it over right into the summertime, where she was a Division II first-team All-American with 24 goals, 8 assists, and Adelphi plays in the Northeast 10 Conference, which is arguably the top Division II league in a lot of different sports. And in women's soccer, they're excellent. Programs like Stonehill and Lemoyne and a lot of others that are very good. Bentley College. And Adelphi had another terrific season. Santoro was their offensive leader. But he's talked about how she's very ambitious to take what she's done this summer and carry it forward for another opportunity. Santoro looking for another. And she was looking for the cutter. She had Sofia Sanchez. Schneider. Good ball out wide again. Ball sent in. Sanchez looking for the head ball and nearly found its way to Vasquez. And the Surf on their heels. Finally, Corbeau's. And this one came up and got Murphy for a handball. But for Morgan Santoro, with 8 goals in 8 games, what can she take from this into potential contract somewhere in the winter if she chooses to? Or get another opportunity should there be an injury or an opening on a reserve team elsewhere in the NWSL. And that could always happen over the course of a long season, a long summer. You just never know who sees you on the right day. This ball chipped into Murphy. And Murphy, and they're going to call the offsides, and then an ensuing yellow is coming up on Murphy in frustration. And I think she certainly had a point and is very frustrated with their AR1 there, Julie Granger. Murphy thought the defender was well on her hip. That's the first yellow card against Murphy this summer. So she'll need to behave the rest of the match as we are into the 82nd minute. As Mara sends it out wide, Santoro was just getting a water break during the yellow card, so she might be even more refreshed as she has it here. As she slips it into Sanchez and makes her cut and run off ball. Boehner plays it in, looking for Vasquez. Instead, it's Colleen Hickey taking over. And trying to sprint ahead, Kelly Conheeney. The Surf had the lead for about 9 minutes in the second half before the Santoro goal tied it. Murphy on the follow-up. At the edge of the 18, she finds room inside. It's Corbeau's turning, shooting, and the big save made by Guglielmo. Best save of the game for either side. Melissa Guglielmo keeps us knotted up at 2.
Number 42, Rachel Carbaz. The save was by number 1, Melissa Guglielmo.
And Guglielmo, who has not been tested much this season, came in with just 16 saves with the Rough Riders for many games this season, dominating the run of play. But today, I'd imagine she's been the most busy. As Conheeney chases. And Rachel Corbeau, who had such an outstanding fall as Georgetown captured their first ever Big East Tournament championship, went all the way to the College Cup final as a playmaking center midfielder. Schneider. Santoro out wide, looking for a little redirection. It wasn't off by much. And Colleen Hickey especially has had to be much more aggressive off of her line in this second half. Ball chipped ahead, and Salmon dangerously plays it off the head ball right into the hands of Hickey. Now Flo Gamby on a loose ball with Murphy ahead of her. Boehner knocked it down. Murphy brings it down and sends Flo Gamby to the outside. Gamby with a service as Valage reached for it. Sierra with a step forward. Or rather, the shot from deep distance, and Guglielmo making the save. That was quite the strike from Brooke Salmon. And Salmon with a little dip on it, too. Brooke Salmon's already been a 2-year starter at Fordham. At center back, she's out of Kellenberg High School and a native of West Hempstead on the island. Guglielmo again out. Then the bicycle kick attempted there by Village, and it was on target. And Guglielmo had to be on high alert. A very difficult feat to pull off, and Fortuna Village nearly had a spectacular finish. This one played up ahead by Salmon to Gamby. And Corbeau's locating Conhini. Nice layoff ahead. Murphy. Can she get a step? Murphy is onside. Murphy delivers. Erica Murphy with 3 today. And the Surf in a must-win mode. They are just minutes away from keeping their playoff hopes alive.
Erica Murphy.
The hat trick for the Jersey girl, Erica Murphy, as she drills one over Guglielmo. An 87th minute goal for Murphy. A very pretty layoff to spring her. And Murphy, who's been frustrated a bit with an offsides call earlier and was nicked up a bit with an injury. It appeared to be a leg injury back in the first half and still came back from it. Gave the Surf a 2-1 lead in the 67th or 68th. And here gets the 87th as we have a great look at a second look. Did not catch who had the initial pass. It might have been Conhini. But Murphy blasting it from 25. The Rough Riders making a substitution following the goal as they look to press forward. Again, they still have 2 games remaining, both highly winnable games. The winless New York Magic and then Lancaster, who they defeated earlier this season 6-1. And the Surf, should this result hold up, they will need one of those 2 teams to pull off an upset. But they needed to take care of business first today in order to make a watch and see possible. As Hickey will gather it back.
Goalie, Greg, goalie.
Elliott. And she was looking there to hit Mara. Great slide tackle by Daly just to break up the pass. Schneider sent it out wide. Quinones. Into the picture, Taylor Groff. She sends it in, and Hickey backpedals and will stay with it.
Shot taken by the Rough Riders, number 4, Taylor Groff. The save goes to the
Let's have another fantastic look at this goal, as it was Kelly Conhini with that outstanding little through ball leading Erica Murphy to the goal. And the one that potentially gives the Surf a huge victory in the grand scheme of things in their first ever meeting against the Long Island Rough Riders franchise that has so much great history. And like I said before, this is just the start of what could develop into a very nice friendly rivalry as the years will go by with just so much soccer talent available here in the Westchester area, that the Surf are nearby. Long Island having plenty of talent to even field multiple teams at this Pro-Am level when you factor in even a couple of the high school players that the Surf have had that have played in their lineup, just like Ohio State-bound Talani Barnett, who's going into her senior year. And the Rough Riders' depth, when you look at who they have and who they don't have today, this really sets the stage for what should be fantastic soccer moving forward. So we are about to hit what should be very short stoppage time.
Stay on 40, on 41, blue. Right.
This one out of play in the final seconds. And we're going to get a card here for delay of game. As Harlan Grossman signaled it. I believe that's Flo Gamby. And it is Gamby, but that's just an irrelevant card. In this case, the time even more valuable. Daly brings it down. And Corbose, who's played the full 90-plus now at center mid, leading Fortuna Village. Now Village just carries it towards a corner. Another whistle, and that's going to be out off of Village as the Rough Riders look for one more push. Sierra just plays it ahead to Gamby and down the line. Looks to chip it in. Murphy attempting to stay onside. Didn't want to touch it. That would cause a stoppage, so she avoided it. And then Village along the sideline. And Gamby into the corner. And this is just going to be a corner kick now for the Surf. As what might be the final seconds counting down.
Number 17, Fortuna Village.
This was a back-and-forth game, a terrific soccer game, with the Surf coming out and peppering Melissa Guglielmo with a couple of early shots before the Rough Riders took an early lead. Erica Modena before Erica Murphy's first goal, or rather, Erica Murphy's first goal today evened things up. A terrific finish. Murphy's second came in the 68th minute to give the Surf their first lead after trailing 1-0 at the break. From the 47th to the 68th. And then Murphy's third broke the 2-2 tie, coming in the 87th minute. So on a special day for the Surf franchise, as they had 7 Sky Blue FC reserve players join them. One of them, Erica Murphy, shines with 3 finishes. The Surf remain alive for the UWS Eastern Conference playoffs. They pick up a win in their regular season finale against the Long Island Rough Riders as now they sit and wait. The Surf moved to 19 points of the season and 6-2-2 and complete a very successful opening season regardless. And now the Rough Riders, who are now 5-2-2, they have 2 more games left. Well, they will need to win both to put themselves into a position where they make the playoffs, and even with some help from the New Jersey Copa FC, potentially losing somewhere along the line, they even hope they could still host a home game. But the very competitive United Women's Soccer League saw a great contest today, but the Rough Riders, after having the halftime lead, they gave up the most goals they have all season, and they come in one half. Erica Murphy tallies 3 times, and the Surf come away with the win. That does it for our entire crew here from SUNY Maritime. We want to thank you for watching our live stream today on YouTube. For our producer and director today, Dexter Henry, my name is Ralph Pinorchik, thanking you for tuning in and watching. Until next season, always follow along the United Women's Soccer League and the Surf and Rough Riders franchises on UWSsoccer.com. We say goodbye from Throgs Neck on a great Saturday afternoon.
In the field of media, broadcast journalism, television, film, diversity is very important, and being able to have more people have a seat at the table to tell their stories is always important. That's something I'm very passionate about. I'm passionate about telling stories through media, but I'm also very passionate about seeing diversity in that. And here at Backpack Broadcasting, that's very important, and that's a huge goal of mine and a goal of the people that I work with. So it's going to be a very diverse correspondent team, including myself, very diverse array of people working on production with these stories. So the stories